My name is Ty Franklin, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the last step in getting your deals to the finish line, and that is the closing process. Now, before I jump into that, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when more videos like this drop on the channel. Let's talk about the closing process. Pretty much the closing process is the process in which you are getting your deals to the closing table and getting them across the finish line so you can get that check. The title company or your closing attorneys are doing title searches. They're making sure that the property belongs to the seller. They're making sure that all the funds are there for closing, and they're making sure that everything is handled within regulations of the law. One of the critical factors in ensuring that you're having a smooth closing process is making sure that you're working with a reputable title company or closing attorney. You want to make sure that your title company or closing attorney is investor friendly and they have an experience with working with wholesalers as well as assignments of contract. You also want to make sure that these title companies or closing attorneys have good communication. The best way to find these reputable investor friendly closing attorneys and title companies is to reach out to local investors in your area, because generally speaking, most of these investors and wholesalers, they're going to be utilizing the same title companies and closing attorneys. So they are reputable and they are investor friendly. So you want to make sure you reach out to them to get some suggestions on who to work with. Now I'm going to break down the closing process in 7 simple steps. So the first step is, once you get your purchase and sales agreement and your assignment contract solidified from both your seller and your buyer, you then want to reach out to that reputable investor-friendly title company and email them both contracts requesting to start a title search. Inside that email, you want to make sure that you're providing both buyer and seller information, such as their name, their phone number, and their email address, so that the title companies can communicate with them directly. Now, once you have requested to get the title search started, the title company is going to reach out to you and the seller to get a seller information sheet completed and returned back to them. Now, on this seller information sheet is going to contain general information about that particular property and the seller. So it's going to have the seller's name, the mortgage company for that particular property, the utility companies for that particular property, the seller's social security number, their return mailing address, and even sometimes it's going to have their wire instructions for the seller as well. Once you return that completed seller information sheet back to the title company, they are going to start the title search. And during the title search, they are going to confirm the ownership of the property, as well as identify any potential liens or debts that may be associated with the seller and that property. If it does come back that there are debts on that property, such as a remaining mortgage balance, the title company is going to reach out to the mortgage company and request a payoff from the mortgage company so they can settle that debt. After the title company checks to see if there are any payoffs, or if there were any payoffs and they received those payoffs back from the mortgage companies, they're going to prepare a preliminary settlement statement to review to make sure that all of the numbers are correct. So make sure you review those numbers. Make sure you look at the credits and the debits on each side of the settlement statement to ensure that everything is accurate and correct. After you review the settlement statement and everything checks out and looks good, that is when the closing date and time will be scheduled and confirmed. And that is pretty much the closing process. It's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. And I have 2 tips to make sure that this process is seamless. Number 1 is making sure that you follow up with the closing attorney or the title company at least once a week to make sure that they are on track and they don't need anything else from either yourself, the buyer, or the seller. And to go along with that, make sure you communicate with the buyer and seller and let them know exactly what is going on and what phase or what step that the title company is at with that process. And that's the closing process. So I hope you guys found this video helpful and valuable. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.